And it is a lot going on in the world of Caitlin Clark. New sponsorships to the left, new deals to the right. It's a lot going on. We are going to get to every... Oh, that's a boss move. Oh, that's a crazy boss move. That's a flex. Hey, listen, I understand. You got Nike deals. You got freaking PGA Golf Tour, Live Golf Tour. You got hockey sponsor. I know you got a lot going on, but to turn down 15 M's.
All right, this is crazy. People, the WNBA simply collapsed. Imagine this. Perhaps the largest basketball star, Caitlin Clark, looks the commissioner in the eye, accepts a record-breaking $50 million offer, and essentially shrugs, responding, "No, I'm good." Is it even possible? That's like a cursed card, slipping $50 million back across the table. The fervor among fans is truly overwhelming. Haters are exploding. In all honesty, the commissioner most likely needs to schedule a therapy session at this time. This is unadulterated mayhem. And believe me when I say that no one anticipated this.
Team.
Woo!
After it started at 5.
Right.
But the official final offer was 50.
Furthermore, prior to Clark, other athletes were rejoicing in deals worth up to $15 million, frequently spanning 10 years.
He must be making some good dough, and I just think that it was more like a league thing.
She didn't want to be
anything.
Yeah,
she had to give the WNBA.
And I'm sure many offers came to her, especially after I think we helped her.
Yeah, make more money
with some more money. If anything, you got a name like Ice Cube offering you $15 million on publicly, man. You got all that. That's all you need. That's all you need for the other 5 and the other 5 and the other 5 to come together.
This is when things start to get really wild, though. Reality TV producers would be envious of the WNBA's recent plunge into disarray. Can you imagine it? With complete assurance, the commissioner hands Caitlin Clark her record-breaking $50 million contract, fully anticipating confetti cannons, tears, and fireworks. Clark, however, shrugs and adds casually, "Huge offer, but no thanks," without even blinking. The fuse was sparked in that very instant. The league went completely nuclear instead of merely reacting. Fans are still in disbelief. The outcry from haters is intense, and the entire situation resembles a toddler in a Walmart losing it because the toy section is closed rather than a sports league.
Unrivaled. If y'all thought a few million and some equity was going to get her to show up and play in your league, you got another thing coming. I said it. If Unrivaled want Caitlin Clark, y'all, a minimum of 10 million plus like 50% ownership of the whole league. That's where we start. That's the starting negotiation point. I might have undersold her, y'all. I might have undersold Caitlin Clark. Look at...
To really understand why the internet was rocked by Caitlin Clark's rejection, we must go back in time to her explosive ascent. The fact is that she is more than just a basketball player. She is essentially a living cheat code. In her own highlight video, Clark would sloppily make threes from what seemed like the parking lot while in college, leaving defenders looking like bewildered extras. Fans did not only show up to her performances, they were swarming arenas in an attempt to see the spectacle, pleading for tickets. She wasn't merely a celebrity. She was an unquestionable, full-fledged sensation.
League is on welfare, okay? If they weren't on welfare, then the league would fold and there would be no women's basketball. And that is basically what has been revealed in this bombshell report about the WNBA being on track to lose roughly $50 million this year. $50 million, which is significantly more than the WNBA had been losing on a yearly basis in the past. Now, again, this is a little bit surprising because of the explosion in popularity of the WNBA due to Caitlin Clark, okay? But once we get into the details, it's not really all that surprising. But at the same time, reports like this kind of drive home the point that reasonable people have been trying to make about the WNBA.
Caitlin Clark wasn't just a rookie when she eventually took the court in the WNBA. She was an economy all by herself. Sales of items really took off. The cost of tickets skyrocketed, and arenas began to resemble sold-out Taylor Swift performances, minus the friendship bracelets, of course. Thus, the WNBA's decision to lock her down made perfect sense. They made her an incredible offer of $50 million, which the league had never before dared to even mention. Furthermore, prior to Clark, the majority of WNBA players were barely making ends meet with contracts so meager that they couldn't even pay for an NBA rookie footwear budget. Yes, Caitlin Clark had just altered the rules of the game entirely.
All right, recent report dropped that the Big Three reportedly offered Caitlin Clark 15 M's for 10 games, but she declined. Crazy. Her endorsement deals must be pretty decent for her to willingly turn that down, because we know her WNBA salary is nothing to brag about. But for her to do that, I guess I look at it like this. If she were to have accepted that before she even stepped foot on a WNBA court, I could only imagine how they would have treated her. I don't even think she would have made it through half the season. She would have had a season-ending injury for sure.
You must realize that this transaction involved more than just money. In essence, it was the WNBA's frantic public love letter. It cried out, "Please don't abandon us, Caitlin. You are more important to us than oxygen." The startling refusal, however, was the final twist. This was not merely a no. The cutoff was on a nuclear level. The kind that causes the one giving it to immediately reflect on every decision they have ever made in their life that has brought them to this point. Imagine the commissioner spending months crafting the ideal proposal. The audience waiting for the ring fireworks, with iPhones rolling in 4K, is turned off in front of everyone. Here's the catch, though. Having received huge endorsements from companies like Nike, Gatorade, State Farm, and more, she is already seated at a table with offers worth twice that $50 million. It pays far more to smile in advertisements and sloppily sync logo threes than it does to receive a league check. The WNBA believed they were offering a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. However, Caitlin Clark is aware of her actual worth. She is no longer merely a player. The primary draw, and the one reason casual fans even pay attention, is her.
And she declined it. If that doesn't tell you how much money Caitlin Clark is making, I don't know, bro. Because who's saying no to $15 million for 10 games? She doesn't even have to score 10 points and she still would be making more than a lot of NBA players make. But Caitlin Clark isn't even back from injury yet to play for the Indiana Fever. Do you guys think Caitlin Clark should have taken this $15 million deal?
Caitlin Clark is currently essentially what Wi-Fi is to your home. Yes, you could live without it in theory, but you'll have a hard time getting people to stay. The consequences of her rejection were immediate. The fans immediately became divided. She was labeled reckless by half, and a genius by the other half. The entire situation was portrayed by the sports media as a royal scandal combined with a Wall Street catastrophe, and they went utterly crazy. The headlines virtually shouted, "Is the WNBA being destroyed by Caitlin Clark?" To be honest, the league most likely had to think the same thing. The WNBA runs the risk of becoming just another floundering league without Clark, vying for viewers' attention with midnight bowling reruns and cornhole competitions. That offer of $50 million was not considerate. It was insurance, pure and simple. The league is much more in need of her than she is of the league, Clark merely reminded them. It was similar to Taylor Swift laughing and responding, "That's cute," when Netflix begged her for a concert special. "Last week, I sold more vinyl and made more money." In an instant, the power dynamics changed. The worst part is still to come. This was not tolerated by the WNBA. No, the league immediately entered full-blown panic mode and began frantically trying to determine what would happen next.
Caitlin Clark, they would have no fans. And I think that a lot of people are forgetting the fact that just, again, a few years ago, before Caitlin Clark was in the league, this is what it looked like at a WNBA.
Imagine the WNBA boardroom following Caitlin Clark's dismissal. Executives are sweating, pacing, and presumably discussing whether selling plasma might generate an additional $20 million. Managers of social media went into overdrive, overflowing timelines with hashtags, highlight reels, and those embarrassingly cheesy motivational sayings about improving the game. To be honest, though, the harm had already been done. The story was public knowledge. Caitlin Clark had just boasted about the entire league without apology. The more important question now arises. What does this actually portend for the future of the WNBA? What does it say about the league's ability to retain its top players if one player can turn down a record-breaking $50 million deal and shrug it off? Because the kicker is here. There are other players who recognize Caitlin's value. Believe me, there are people observing, making calculations, and taking notes. At 3 in the morning, the commissioner is most likely still thinking about that incident and wondering how their ideal agreement became a nightmare. Don't assume that the WNBA would simply give a courteous nod and go on. This league doesn't back down when it's cornered. It doubles down. And believe me, the drama is just getting started.